After the 2-week mark of my hike from Mexico to Canada, I took one night off of trail and stayed at my mom's house. My mom and my grandma dropped me and my friend Karen off at the trailhead, and we started into a section of the Pacific Crest Trail that would be far more challenging and more dangerous than I had ever estimated. Lying ahead were the challenges of a lot of elevation gain to get to the second highest peak in Southern California, as well as some eroded trail, steep exposure, and long water carries.
It's 80 degrees outside. I've just dropped 70% of my pack weight under a bush somewhere, and I'm hiking a quarter mile down a spur trail to get water. Welcome to day 15 on the Pacific Crest Trail. We're down at the spring getting water. We're actually hanging out under that big tree you see over there, and have been for more than an hour, maybe a couple of hours now. It's really just about trying to get out of the sun during the heat of the day. We have about 6 more miles to do today. It's going to put us at approximately 13 for the whole day. This is not too bad for first day back on trail. I'm hiking with my friend Karen right now, who I met here on the PCT, and we're both just trying to gradually ramp up mileage despite this sort of like frenzy to want to push more and more and do more and more and really, push our bodies. It's trying to let the body gradually adapt. It's not easy to have the patience to do that, but I think for longevity, it's the right thing to do. Back on trail proper at 3:43, and packs are feeling heavy because they're loaded up again with the water for camping tonight and hiking tomorrow as well. And hoping for that 6-7 more miles this evening. Good morning, it's day 16 on the Pacific Crest Trail, and last evening was just so beautiful while out walking and the sun was setting. And then Karen caught me because she actually found this sweet little campsite 1 mile before where we planned to camp, but I was ready to be done. It was a lot of climbing yesterday, a lot of elevation gain, but also if you look at the overall elevation gain, it's misleading because we went up and down and up and down, and we were supposed to be going to this next campsite, and it's like 650-foot drop, and every time we would go down, we turn around and come back up, and I'm like, when is the descent gonna come? And right now, for me, the descents are sort of the hardest for my body to manage, which is common for a lot of people. But as I mentioned in a previous video, I have a sprained ankle. I sprained my ankle 3 days before trail, so I'm on day 19 or something of this new sprain to my ankle. And it is recovering well and mostly doesn't bother me, but the descents are the one part that do bother me. In this video, I want to share with you how I think my body's keeping up so far, what I plan to do to help it along as best as possible for this long trail, and just take you along with kind of the things that I'm trying to do to give myself the best chance. So we're gonna start with a warm-up after I take down my tent. Well, I'm not going to demonstrate them for you. I am going to use this piece of Tyvek that I picked up in Julian. Tyvek is like the house building material, but it's also used for hikers. It's lightweight, waterproof, and I primarily use mine as a surface for mobility where I won't get completely filthy. So I'm gonna do some calf raises and ankle circles and leg swings and cat-cows and hip circles and all of that stuff to get my body loosened up and ready to take on the miles ahead. And then a little bit down the trail, I'm gonna, when we stop, I'll do some deeper stretches and so forth, but always trying to keep a dynamic range of movement throughout the day during breaks, because hiking, backpacking is very much the same repetitive movements, which can cause issues in the body. I am going to show you this specific exercise using a cork ball that I'm working on because of an injury that I found out is very, very common for PCT hikers. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with their preparation. It has to do with the way that the trail is off camber at the same angle, repeatedly putting stress on the right foot. I actually did start experiencing that ligament pain recently, which is also why I have KT tape on my right foot when it's my left ankle that's sprained that also has KT tape on it. Turns out having things like a cork ball, KT tape, those are very good tools to have out here on this trail, because even if you are coming on trail in tremendous shape, things like hiking for hundreds of miles on an off-camber trail, putting pressure on a specific ligament that there's almost no way to train for, can cause problems. I went to put on my backpack and I found a scorpion underneath it. Woof, glad I saw that. Now I'm going to hike 4.4 miles to, you guessed it, the next water source. It's a pattern around here. But something I learned from some of my thru hiker veteran friends, either have hiked the AT or they're even going for their triple crown here on the PCT, meaning they've hiked the Appalachian Trail as well as the Continental Divide Trail. And once they get the Pacific Crest Trail, they will be a triple crowner. Anyway, they recommended that you start hiking very slowly for the first mile or even up to maybe an hour of hiking, just depending on how long it takes your body to really feel engaged and warmed up. Here's the spring. I had to hike 500 feet down the side of the mountain to get it, which is rough. We're taking a little break near the water source. I have my Tyvek laid out and I am laid out on it. The idea here is that I'm supposed to be elevating my feet, but I can't find a reliable tree to lay them up against. Anyway, I thought I was the only one getting my booty kicked out here on this section of trail, but it turns out the consensus is this is the hardest section of trail so far. The grade is quite steep. We're at a substantial elevation, about 7,000 feet, and the climb is nearly relentless. It only relents enough for us to have to basically drop down a little bit and then regain that elevation all over again. He sounds like he's pretty far off trail, though.
You think so? He's there somewhere.
I can't see. I wish I could see it.
I only saw him because he was on trail and I almost stepped on him, so he got mad at me. But then he left trail.
I really don't want to die. Okay. This is intense and so strikingly beautiful, but what's intense about it is the uphill has been very steep. Right now we're in a downhill section, but this is the edge of a cliff. Like, the run out here is really far down, and the runoff from above us is really far up. So yeah, we saw that rattlesnake and there was no way around it off trail, so good thing it got off trail and let us by. But I can understand why it wants to hang out on the trail, because everything else is just steep, gnarly. Some sections trail is very narrow, so your footing really matters. This is humbling. Wow.
PCT trail maintenance. They tried.
They cut through it.
It went nowhere.
But yeah, it's
We
massive.
still have to walk around. He was like cruising. Like, today and then find camping on the PCT.
Peak 0.3. Right inside the hut. Almost made it to the summit. Pretty cool. Woohoo! Made it to the summit. Aww,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Well, hello. I have summited Mount San Jacinto, made it back down to the shelter. This is an emergency shelter, and just taking a little bit of a rest before I hike a few more miles down to camp at Round Valley for tonight. I am on a blue blaze instead of on the PCT. In my second vlog on my PCT series, I talked about different blazes, and if you saw that, you may remember that a blue blaze is an alternate or a side quest. So the summit of Mount San Jacinto, which is the second highest peak in Southern California, is a blue blaze. And I'm going to continue on a blue blaze. Karen, who I've been hiking with, is rejoining the PCT, and that hike will include about 20 miles with 8,000 feet of elevation loss, so descent back down onto the desert floor. And because of my ankle injury, I have for a long time known that that is not something that I'm interested in doing. The descents are the most challenging for my ankle. They're very painful, and covering that portion of trail could potentially cause me to have to come off trail entirely. So the alternate that I'm choosing to take is the Palm Springs Aerial Tramway, which will just be a beautiful tram ride down to the Palm Springs area. Fortunately, I have family in the area, so my mom is going to come pick me up from that tomorrow morning. So I kind of have like a leisurely afternoon a bit, which is so welcomed after the really difficult hiking day yesterday. By the way, that is the tram station. This is a view back of what we've been hiking the past couple of days. So let me zoom in. These peaks seem so low, but yesterday they seemed so high. And all the way down there beyond the peaks, somewhere over there maybe, or there, is where we started. In my estimation, that's a lot of progress to make in just a couple of days. Just a few days. Couple of days, few days. There's where I got my water in that little pipe. And coming around here is the ranger station. And I'm gonna just look for a little tent site back in here somewhere. Good morning. Today is the day that I am going to continue my blue blaze and head down the Palm Springs Aerial Tram. My mom's gonna pick me up, and I'm gonna take the day off of trail before rejoining the trail at the I-10 Mission Creek and Whitewater Preserve area. Going to hopefully actually take my first zero of the trail, which is something that's normal and totally allowed. I've had people ask me about that, but it will be my first zero of the trail. And I've had a lot of people out here that are veterans and so forth encourage me to go ahead and take a zero because it's probably past due. I am definitely walking with a little bit of a limp this morning as my sprained ankle is not happy with me, but in general it's been recovering remarkably well. So much so that at mile 106, I actually switched from the stiff high boot that I had bought to start the trail after spraining the ankle. That was designed to sort of keep it stabilized and a little bit immobilized. And I switched back to my trail runners. And I also made that decision because those boots were causing other issues. Like they were just so heavy that it was impacting my knees in a way that I had never noticed before with any other kind of shoe, and just generally exhausting. Oh, blisters. Yeah. Now that I'm in the trail runners, my blisters have healed. My knees feel 100% better. But my ankle is bothering me a little bit today. But I have to keep in mind that I've pushed my body a lot. And hopefully just after a couple of rest days, it'll be back on track to healing. I don't recall if I mentioned, but the section of the trail that I'm skipping does cross mile marker 200. I got up around maybe 181, and so I'm kind of sad to miss that, but I'm not sad to miss the 8,000 foot elevation drop in about 20 miles. That is the part that I am quite sure my body at this time cannot handle. Oh, how nice it is to be near running water after so much time in the desert, just relying on water caches and dry stretches. It's just so beautiful.